DJI have just released a new smartphone gimbal following on from the OM5. The OM6. The OM5 was quite a change from the OM4 with the addition of an extendable handle and a sleeker design. But for the OM6, DJI has kept a pretty similar design, including that selfie stick handle. So if you already have one of the OM gimbals, is it going to be worth upgrading to the OM6? DJI have added some exciting new features which might persuade you. So I'll quickly go over what's new, and then I'll talk about how to get the most cinematic footage from your OM6. Unboxing, I've found the design looks pretty much identical to the OM5, but this darker color gives it a more serious professional look. I also get the feeling it's a little sturdier and perhaps better made than the OM5. The first thing you notice when you unfold the gimbal is that it immediately powers on without having to press any buttons. And this is the new Quick Start feature. And if you have an iPhone, when you attach it to the gimbal magnetically, it automatically boots up the Mimo app as well. And the next thing I noticed was this little wheel, which is also a button on the side. And more about that later, but overall, this feels like a more polished, more advanced version of the OM5. So as I say, unfolding the gimbal automatically powers it on. You get a couple of beeps and then the arm moves into place, waiting for you to mount a phone. You also get this pulsing red light here until you mount a phone. And once you mount the phone, the red light stops pulsing and now you get an icon which tells you which mode the gimbal is in. So that's pretty cool, and it makes getting started with the OM6 just a little bit quicker. As well, folding up the gimbal powers it off. But if you do want to power the gimbal on and off manually, just long press on the M button. If you know viewing gimbals, you will know that one of the advantages of them over the DJI OM gimbals is that they have an indicator which shows you which mode you're in. And it's just a bit more convenient because you don't have to keep looking in the app to see which mode you're in. And as well, they have a button which allows you to cycle through the modes. But now the DJI OM6 has a dedicated mode button, as well as this mode indicator. And there's 4 different modes that you can cycle through here: follow, tilt locked, FPV, and finally spin shot. If you have the Mimo app connected, you will see the mode flash up in the middle of the screen when you change it. Now, but one little difference is that the OM6 doesn't allow you to double tap to cycle in reverse, like the viewing gimbals do. Also, there's now a dedicated battery level meter on the left of this little screen. It doesn't move up and down or anything, but it just changes color. So when it's green, it's okay, and when it goes red, you know that you're in danger of your battery running out of power pretty soon. Previous versions of the OM gimbal had a touch-sensitive control stick, which allowed you to pan and tilt at different speeds. But this was actually lost when the OM5 came out. The good news is the touch-sensitive control stick has returned for the OM6. And actually, this control stick is really nice to use, and I would say a definite improvement on the OM5, which felt a little bit low quality to me. If you've used the Zhiyun Smooth 4 or 5, you will know that they have a dedicated zoom and focus wheel on the side of the handle. On the Smooth 5, just tap the center button to switch between zoom or focus. Now, the OM6 has pretty much exactly the same feature. It's just a little bit smaller. I do have to say that again, this is really well designed and it's really nice to use. Just press in the wheel like a button to switch between zoom and focus. In the Mimo app, top right, you will see a lens symbol with letters ZM or MF, which tells you whether you are in zoom mode or manual focus mode. And just holding the gimbal with one hand, I found it pretty easy to use my thumb on this wheel. So this allows you to make nice, smooth focus pulls while you are recording. A nice focus pull shot can really add a pro look to your videos. And actually a focus pull is normally pretty tricky to achieve with a smartphone. but the OM6 actually makes it really easy. Now you might get a warning saying camera doesn't support manual focus. So that's probably because you are using the ultra wide camera, which doesn't have focus control. So just tap the white circle to switch to the main camera or the telephoto. Now the easiest way to shoot a focus pull is to rest the gimbal on a flat surface using the tripod legs. Place the gimbal so that you have an object that's pretty close to the phone's camera. Start recording and now use the wheel to move focus between the foreground and the background. It's up to you which way you go. You can go foreground to background or background to foreground. Try to move the wheel slowly and as smoothly as possible. You can also do this while holding or moving the gimbal. It's just a little bit trickier, but if you have a steady hand, then it should be okay. Now a focus pull is actually a reveal shot. You know, what you're doing is that you are revealing something by bringing it into focus. It's actually a classic shot used by professional filmmakers for many decades, and you're going to see it used all the time, especially if you look out for it. And you know that using a variety of shots is really going to improve your videos. And now you can add a focus pull, or rack focus as it's also called, to your shot list. As well as using the zoom wheel to zoom in and out, you can use it to select the lenses on your smartphone. As you move the wheel on the Mimo screen, you will see a line of dots. The bigger dots mark the different lenses. On my iPhone 12 Pro Max, I have the ultra wide, the wide, and then the telephoto at 2.5 times. And if I zoom past 2.5 times, it starts to move into the digital zoom and not just the optical zoom, and it goes up to 8 times zoom. The OM5 is actually a little bit better when it comes to picking lenses, because tapping the slider once up or down would switch lenses. But now that the OM6 has a zoom wheel, not a slider, it's a little bit more tricky to move quickly to the next lens without kind of overshooting. That said, you can tap the big white circles on the screen to make sure that you're exactly in 1 times or exactly 2.5 times or 0.5 times depending on the lens that you want. ActiveTrack isn't a new feature, but it's been updated to 5.0. The OM gimbals were always good at tracking people, but DJI say they've improved this even more. To activate ActiveTrack, aim at the subject that you want to track and just press the trigger. This works with front and rear facing cameras. So if you're filming yourself with a selfie camera, for example, tap on the trigger and you will see this green box around your face. And in fact, when you switch to the front camera, it will automatically start tracking you anyway. If you want to stop tracking, you can just press the trigger again and it will deactivate. Now, if you want to film yourself with the rear camera and you're filming solo, you can use the gesture control. Toggle it on and then make sure it's set to follow and shoot. Make the hand gesture and the Mimo app will start recording and it's going to lock onto your face. So I had a little test here to see how good it was at following me. And when I moved around, it was able to keep following me pretty easily, even when I hid behind this pillar. But when I went behind the bush, it did actually lose me at that point and it couldn't find me again afterwards. So there is limitations, but it's pretty good that it keeps filming me even when I sort of partly moved out of shot. Combined with the Mimo app, the OM6 supports DJI's Shot Guides feature. And this helps to give you inspiration when filming, suggesting certain shots and walking you through the process. Again, this is a feature introduced with the OM5, but DJI have improved it for the release of the OM6. With Mimo open, tap the little clapperboard symbol in the top left corner. Now there's really loads of options to choose from here, and I think they've added a bunch more since the OM5. So tapping one of these headings at the top brings up another menu of options. So if I select, for example, home and then select party, I can play the video here to get an idea of what this option will create. And then I just swipe on the screen to scroll through a shot list. Tap apply, and now on the left you can see 2 videos. Above is what DJI suggests you want your shot to look like, And below is a little video showing you how the shot was captured using an OM gimbal. So there's plenty of ideas here to help you put together some nice video sequences on my feet, which is great for kind of travel videos where you're exploring new places. It's a nice little B-roll shot. And to really add extra quality to the shot, you can circle around. And with the extending handle, this shot is really pretty simple to get. The circle shot works for selfie style shots as well, especially if you shoot at 60 frames per second and then slow it to 30 or 24 frames per second. With the extending handle, crane style shots are also another option, and these are great for establishing your scene.
And it's much better than using a simple pan shot, which is often a shot that beginners overuse. And in my video lesson for members on Patreon called Motivating Camera Movement, I explain why you should stop using the pan shot and use a more cinematic, more professional looking shot instead. And there's all kinds of other stuff to download, video lessons and ebooks, as well as my regular filmmaking podcast.
So to get a crane shot, extend the handle, start recording and move the gimbal in an upward arc. Now because the OM gimbals have limited tilt movement, you're going to need to go sideways. If you want to go even higher, or maybe shoot one of those kind of drone style shots, you can add a longer handle extension. So this is a Manfrotto monopod, which I can screw into the base of the gimbal. Here's another shot that you can create with the OM6 and a monopod. Rest the monopod on the ground and move right to left or left to right. And this means any up and down movement is removed. So it's a kind of left to right to left dolly shot. And it's much smoother this way than trying to get the shot just using your hand and the gimbal.
So let's look at this new app called Lightcut. In fact, it's been around since last September, but I don't think many OM users actually know about it.
The app supports OM gimbals, the Osmo Pocket series and the Osmo Action series. But even without one of these devices, you can still use the app's AI editor. Just choose a template, import footage from your gallery and let the app do the work. But if we connect it to a supported device, the app now walks us through this shooting process as well. Once connected to your device, Lightcut seems to work a bit like Story Mode in the Mimo app. So you just choose a template and let the app guide you through the shot list, shot by shot. And at the end, you simply export your sequence ready to share on social media.
Okay, so here's how to use it.
Open the app and connect to a supported device. The big one-tap edit button opens up your gallery, and from here you can select a number of clips. Tap next and the AI will then analyze the clips and choose what it thinks are the best moments from within each clip. When it's finished, watch your AI created video sequence, and if you like it, export it. So on my iPhone 12 Pro Max, I can choose to export up to 4K here. Now, if you want the app to help you get the shots before it does the editing, then tap Inspire Cam. And this opens up a few templates. At the moment, there appears to be only 8, but I presume they're going to add more in the future. So I'm going to choose Go Camping. I'm not going camping, but it's just to try it out. So at the top we now have a brief explanation of the template, a short video which shows you how it might look, and below is a shot list. And this is a pretty long shot list and it has like 29 shots altogether. And you can just swipe the screen here to look at all the shots and see what the app will be asking you to do. Now, if you tap a shot, it plays a short clip to show you what the shot might look like. So right away, we can see that you're going to need a car for this template. You also need a tent and probably someone to go camping with. So if you're ready to shoot, then tap shoot. And this opens up the Lightcut camera app. Now I've spent a little bit of time with this app and I can tell you that it is very basic. There's no manual control, no way to lock exposure and no way to change the cameras. But there's a zoom control which allows you to zoom in by tapping this button. To return to the normal zoom of the main camera, just double tap. So as far as I can see, of the rear cameras, this app only allows you to use the main camera, which is a bit limiting. However, you can switch to the front camera with this button on the left. But the main thing is that the shot list now appears at the bottom of the screen. So you can tap and swipe to select different shots from the list. So let's try getting this opening shot, which it says is a long fixed shot, which captures the scenery, including a narrow road. So when you start recording, the app records for a set number of seconds and then replays the shot, and you can decide whether to keep it or retake the shot and do it again if you didn't like it. So once you're happy, tap next to keep that shot, and now the app moves on to the next shot. So you just keep going, capturing whichever shots that you want. You don't actually need to capture all 29 shots, so just shoot as many as you think you need. So when you think you've got enough, just tap preview. The app's now going to show you a preview of the sequence containing your clips. And strangely, even though the template shows a video in horizontal aspect ratio, and I have the app set to horizontal, the app plays the preview in vertical mode. Perhaps something for the developers to fix in the future. Now, if you want to go back and shoot some more footage, click back. But if you're happy, click edit. The AI now analyzes your shots and compiles a sequence complete with music and titles. And the thing is that while you can change the music and keep the same template, it seems that the text itself can't be edited or removed. And you can also go in and manually edit the sequence, moving the clips around, for example. Just tap on a clip and drag it around. Even though you shot your clips using the Go Camping template, the app will recut the clips to any of the other templates. So there's all kinds of other stuff you can do here to manually edit your video, but this is mostly stuff that you can do in other editors, for example, CapCut or VN. And so finally, as before, you can export your sequence in up to 4K resolution.
Okay, so that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or leave a comment, why not? And I'll see you in the next video.